Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Anthony Conley, also known as the artist HANDSXFEET. HANDSXFEET is a trap metal project from the Chandler, Arizona area. Anthony is also a member of the coffee industry, working with Peixoto Coffee in Chandler as well. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! What's going on, Caffeinated crew? Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Anthony Conley, also known as the artist HANDSXFEET. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Grayson. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. Like the concept of bridging specialty coffee and heavy music, I was like, yo, this is it. Like, I'm here for it. And here we are.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy that we're getting to talk. I know that your music is maybe a little bit different than what we usually have on the podcast, but I still feel like it's very much heavy music. It's very much in the vein of aggressive, truth-telling music. So I'm super stoked to have you on the podcast. And I know that you're a huge coffee fan. So what are you drinking on your side? We'll start with that.
Right now, I am drinking a very special coffee that I saved for this specifically. It is the Panama Finca Lerida. It is a Geisha that the company I work for, Peixoto Coffee, that we've put out for the holidays. It's very unique because, well, for this kind of like where geishas have been heading a lot recently with all the fermentation processing, that's been kind of really catching wave over the last couple of years. Very like intricate experimentation processing and stuff. I feel like a lot of the geishas over the last couple of years have been like wild, just like super, just off the wall tasting and very tasty. But this one is just a textbook classic geisha. You got the floral, you got that like pop of acidity, you got that little bit of sweetness, just tastes delicate and complex. And it's just like, I could drink a gallon of it. It's so good. Like, I'm so hyped that we got to put this out and into Arizona here and just have a textbook geisha again. You know, it's been a minute since I've had one of those, so I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome. I'm loving the way that geishas are heading, but it is now kind of hard to find now that we've gone to the extreme side.
Yep.
It's hard to get a classic, just, run of the mill geisha. So
exactly. It hits.
I'm having, it's by Pilot Coffee Roasters from Toronto. It's called Santa Maria. It is in El Salvador, pacamara. This is one of the first and only pacamaras that I've had. So I don't have a ton of experience in that varietal, but a lot of pineapple, some toffee flavors, and it says velvety on the bag. I'm kind of letting it cool just a bit, but it's super rich, like full bodied. Definitely a lot of that sweet citrus, but not too sour. Very, very good. And it is
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, man. It's a natural pacamara.
Nice.
So hopefully I'll get my hands on some more of these, because I feel like pacamaras are always hard to come by, as well as geishas. You have to kind of know where to find one.
Exactly.
But we get a lot of
off the top of my head, I can't think of when I've had a pacamara varietal, honestly. So it's like that's amazing to hear that.
Staying on the coffee, what do you have a favorite brew method?
Honestly, not really. Like it depends on because working in the warehouse side of things now, I've been a barista for 4 years with Peixoto Coffee. I recently in August moved over to the warehouse to start developing a role within the company for training and quality control.
Nice.
Having somebody dedicated specifically for that. So being in the warehouse, we're like cupping like multiple times throughout the week and all that. So it's like you get to taste like how the coffee characteristics of each one are going. And then based off that, I'm able to be like, oh, this one has this kind of like natural characteristics. So I think this kind of brewing method will complement it. So it's like, I'm kind of all over the place, but I tend to brew more with my origami. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Cause it's not like, it's like, it's flat bottom technically, but it has a like more like intense angle on it. So it's kind of like a middle ground between like a cone and then the flat bottom kind of style. I also use the fellow stag a lot.
Okay.
Really, really nice. I like that one. We use it in the shop. It's perfect for shop setting because it's metal. So you're not chipping anything.
Definitely.
And then the Phoenix C70. I really like the Phoenix C70 as well. St. Anthony brewer.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's one that I don't even know if I've seen that one. So I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, that one, it looks kind of like the V60.
Okay.
But you know how the V60 has that spiral like ridges in there? They took that concept and like made like, it's like dots instead of one solid ridge. So the dots slow down the flow rate. So it's not quite as like overly or like balanced as the V60 has.
Okay.
So it kind of like slows down the flow rate, but it still has that cone shape.
Okay.
So I actually will use a Kalita filter in the C70 to kind of bring out slightly more sweetness and stop that way it doesn't like have any buildup going on or suction or anything with the filter. So
you're like deep in experimenting with like bringing out the flavors, and we'll try this filter with this brewer. I'm definitely
exactly.
I haven't quite gotten too crazy. I'm still kind of building my brewer like library, but I just got to trickle it, which I don't know.
I actually haven't heard of that one.
Okay, it's like the first zero bypass brewer that's been created.
Oh, okay.
But I like that you're like throw a filter in a V60 or like.
Yeah. We have like, it's like a playground, a coffee playground working at the warehouse. We have, cause the coffee shop we're coming up on year 7.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with them for about 5 years now. So it's like, we kind of have everything you can think of as far as brewing. So we're just like, oh, let's try that today. Like just having fun with it. Coffee is always growing, coffee knowledge. There's no ceiling,
right?
Which is why I love it, because you can continue learning as much as you want,
Definitely. I definitely agree. I'm actually very envious of that. You just take a tripper and you could do a blind, like just walk up and pull something. I love that.
Literally. Yeah. I'm blessed for real. I love what I do. Love where I get to work. That's my family for real.
Talking about Peixoto roasting and how you've been working with them. You had a collab, the Sip No Evil. What is that all about?
So my first EP that came out in 2019, we literally had my EP release show like not even 2 weeks before COVID hit. And so it was like a great send off, I guess, in the worst way possible.
Right.
But that EP, my first EP is called Speak No Evil.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always had this concept, and like my bosses, Julia and Jeff, they're really supportive of everything I do, even though, I mean, like it's heavy music and stuff. So I don't expect them to listen to it, obviously, but like they love what I do, because they know what the work I do in suicide prevention and stuff like that. And they just know my heart. Like we're all really close. And we had always played with the idea of like, hey, let's do a benefit collab, And then when lockdown hit and everything like that hit, we were constantly doing like fundraising opportunities and providing coffee for like doctors and hospitals and nurses and stuff like that, and just really in the community.
That's awesome.
We're like right in the heart of Chandler, Arizona. And so it's like you got the downtown vibes, but then you got the families and all that. So we get like every demographic, and so I work with East Valley Dream Center, which is a local nonprofit that provides resources in the community. Everything from like food to mental health services and everything else in between. And so I had been working with them for a little over a year at that point. And Julia came to me and like, hey, what if we do like let's do this finally. Let's like get the bag together. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's perfect. Let's do a benefit and let's donate it to East Valley Dream Center because so many people are getting evicted and all that right now, and so and need food. So we did it. I hit one of my best friends, Dylan, up. He's the designer on our team, and we came up with the mock-up and the design and everything, and then sent it over to my boss Julia, and she edited a little bit, and we kind of worked together on designing it and the flavor profile and all that. And I got to release my own coffee. Like, it's crazy. Like being like Soulja Boy is always like, I'm the first rapper to do this. And it's like, well, I'm the first heavy artist to do a coffee. So it was a dream come true, literally, like getting to raise money for the community. And as an artist, have my own coffee that I love. Like, it was huge, and we raised over $2,000 for the community. So that covered a full month of expenses between food and resources and paying bills for families and stuff like that. So it was a beautiful experience. We sold I think 250 bags, something like that.
Man,
yeah, in 10 days.
That's
10 days,
insane.
dude.
So I saw that you guys had sold out, but it had been a while past since I was checking the posts. That's beautiful. Like, that's, in my opinion, specialty coffee. That's really what it should be about, is supporting and sustaining even in our communities, because, coffee shops are kind of the launch point of our community. It's where everybody meets, everybody crosses paths.
Yep, exactly.
So being able to benefit the local community and give back from a place that is like the heart of the community. Amazing.
Thank you.
I know that has a lot to tie into Sorrow Circle. What is the importance of Sorrow Circle?
Yeah. So, Sorrow Circle, it's not a collective. A lot of people like to just kind of put that stamp on it the first time they just see like a group of people doing something. But that's not what we're shooting for. We're not trying to be exclusive. We're trying to be inclusive. And it's basically like a media platform. So we're still kind of like trying to get like our feet wet with everything. But our goal is to take all the resources we have, and when we come across a smaller artist that we really support, we're really into, we kind of like provide like, hey, here is all of our resources. You need media done, you need photography done, you need videography done. This person can knock that out for you. You need recording, production, you need beats, you need mixing, mastering. My best friend Trey, who's the kind of like the brain of Sorrow Circle, he's got you covered. You need design work, we got design work for you. You need merch, you got merch. You need a merch platform. You could release your merch on our website. You need a YouTube channel to drop your video on. We have a YouTube channel. So basically everything, and distribution, even if you need distribution, we have distribution for you. So it's like every aspect that an independent artist would need, you can come to us, and then we would provide all of that for you. We're still kind of like trying to cover all the bases. Right. But yeah, that's kind of just what we're doing. And then we also put together a whole venue a couple months ago for a benefit show for our friend. And he had the space to host it. So we literally cleaned it all out, built a stage, set up the whole venue. And now we're like, you need a space to hold a show, like hit us up, So we're literally trying to do everything we can possible so that we're doing it ourselves and exactly how we want it to be done in every aspect.
That is, like, in my opinion, that's like what hardcore and drives
DIY
hardcore community. So bringing that over into like a completely different like genre and feel of music is like so beautiful to me. I guess.
Yeah. Thank you.
That would lead me to ask, I know you come from a hardcore background and a heavy music background. What is the crossover from hardcore to making Hands and Feet what that is?
So, basically, if you've played in bands, correct? And I've been playing in bands since I was 14, 15. Creative differences get involved, or there's always that one person who has like all the ideas and puts the work in. And then you get maybe somebody over here who's just like, I just want to play shows, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really hard with a bunch of different creatives in one room who are trying to get on the same vision, same path. And it gets stressful. And Trey and I, my best friend Trey, my producer, my roommate, everything. We've been homies and best friends since junior year in high school. And we've been in our bands all the time. And he started producing. He'd been like always like making beats and stuff, like pretty much his entire life. And then he started taking it real seriously a few years ago. And we were just so sick of that, you know, sick of just like having to rely on other people. I mean, which is why it became Sorrow Circle, because we're so sick of having to rely on other people to get things done, you know? So it's just like, yeah. So he had heard Scarlord, huge shouts out Scarlord, paved the way. And he's like, yo, check this guy out. Like, he's yelling on these beats and he's got that same energy. And there's even guitar riffs, but it's electronic drums and he's doing it by himself, you know? And I was just like, yo, this is tight. Well, actually the first time I heard it, I didn't know how to process it. I was just like, I don't know if I like this or not. I was like, I don't know if this is weird or what, but like, that's what I loved about it. After like, he had like played it in his car, we were just cruising around. And then I was like, yo, this is like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. But then I like went back to like the next day in my car and listened to the full album. And I texted him, I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, this is so sick that somebody is doing this, you know, 'cause this is the same energy. Well, he's just doing it by himself. He just pulls up to a show and he just got to run the tracks and it's the same energy, you know? And I had never even like, at the time I had been doing spoken word and like touring with spoken word poetry and like, but my spoken word had elements of like hardcore in it, you know, kind of, cause like it's intense. It's like slam poetry. Like I would yell and just let it out, you know? And we had been trying to record a full length for me at the time. And it just wasn't working. Like something felt off. Like we had like beats going and like just atmospheric music and stuff. And like some of it was cool, but like in my heart, it just wasn't clicking.
Right.
And we had kind of shelved it for like 6 months or so. And then I went over to his place and he showed me this heavy track that he was working on. And he was screaming like kind of Scarlord style and stuff. And he's like, yo, get on this. And I was like, I don't know what to do, you know, because like I had been toying with the idea of maybe stepping into rap, but I was like, bro, I don't want to just be a white rapper. Like I don't listen to white rappers. Like it's whack and it's corny and it's cheesy, you know? And so but like, cause you just hear, I don't care. You listen to MGK's old stuff and it's like, this doesn't sound genuine. Like this dude sounds like he's imitating a culture that he knows nothing about. But I grew up like an hour outside of Mexico and I was the minority. So I was like one of like 2 white kids. So I grew up in like Hispanic and native culture. And so it's like, I was around all of this and like, that's what it was, you know? And so like, if I was ever going to step into rap, I wanted it to come off genuine. I wanted to come off like not sounding corny, not sounding whack, especially being like quote unquote faith-based, whatever that means. Like I was like, not only do I not listen to white rappers that much, but like a white Christian rapper, like gross. Bro, no, like gross, absolutely gross. But I had been doing I did vocals for this band called Injustice, and it's just pissed off, fight your friends music, like just the slow, sludgiest crap you could think of. Yeah. And he's like, bro, do exactly what you did on Injustice on this. And I was just like, oh, I could do that. And I'm always writing lyrics. I have like probably at this point 600 notes of lyrics and poems. And so I just kind of like, he was playing the beat on loop and I was just going through and I was like, yo, this is it. And I got on the mic and I recorded it. And it was the Ledge, which is one of the songs on my first EP. And then I like sat down and we listened to it back. And then like the next day I texted him and I was like, this is it. Let's go. And the next week we started Speak No Evil and recorded the full EP in two or 3 days.
Wow.
And then he mixed and mastered it, and we put it on SoundCloud, and then later on released it on all platforms, remastered with a couple singles and stuff added to it. So yeah, it was because we heard Scarlord, and I don't know, it felt natural because I grew up in heavy music, and yeah, I was like, because I don't know, I don't really I call myself an artist. I don't like the label of just being like, oh, you're a rapper, because it's like, I'm not. Like, I do so much more. Like, I'll write Trey and I will pick up guitars and we'll write the riff for the song, you know, and like then he'll add the trap drums and stuff. So it's like, I'm an artist and I'm a heavy artist, whatever you want to call it. So it all came together so naturally. And now it's been 2 years and I'm just like, I love this, you know, like it's so much fun getting to have the same energy of a hardcore show, but I don't have to worry about all of the politics and all of the crap of working with other people and setting up band practice and this and that. It's like,
you don't need a jam space or anything. It's literally like your bedroom.
Literally. Yeah. We had the studio is in our house. Yeah. Like it's a professional studio, top of the notch, like production quality is amazing. Trey is amazing what he does. And so I just like, I'll hit him up like, hey, you free this day? And he's like, yeah. Like, oh, this is the beat I'm listening to that you made. And he does every single track you hear is Trey. And so I'll pop over and we'll track vocals and then he'll mix and master it and we'll send it to distro, you know? So it's like, I love our setup and I scream in my car and like warm up in my car and write music while I'm driving, you know? So it's like, I don't have to worry about anything. We pull up, plug the tracks in, and I do exactly what I would do if a full band was behind me, you know? It's fun.
Yeah, it's got such like, even watching the videos for like Bloodchild and Spawn of Christ is the other one that has
Spawn of Jesus.
Spawn of Jesus. I keep thinking Spawn of Christ, but
no, you're good.
The video's like so aggressive, and it still does have all of that insane energy. So I really get pumped. I've had Bloodchild stuck in my head for like 3 weeks.
Mission accomplished.
I know. I'll just be like doing something else. I'm like, I'm a Bloodchild. I'm like, oh shit. That's a catchy song. Yes.
God bless. Yep. Mission accomplished.
Listening to a lot of your lyrics, overarching themes obviously are suicide prevention, speaking about mental health, depression, even like faith and criticisms and judgments that you've faced, you know, looking the way that people in the hardcore and, you know, alternative community look, but still being, you know, somebody who is a Christian or a believer or any faith that they hold. Yeah. What has helped you be open about your mental health and faith, especially writing about it for everybody to see?
Yeah. Like I said, I started out in spoken word poetry actually when I was like in my early 20s. And at the time, I mean, like even to this day, like public speaking makes me anxious as hell, like it does most people. But like I would get to the point where it's like, I want to throw up. Like I'm so nervous and I like shaky. But I've lost family members to suicide. I've lost some very dear friends of mine to suicide. And at this point, unfortunately, I feel every single person has a story where a loved one or a friend of a friend they've lost, especially over this pandemic. Like suicide has affected almost every person I know in some way, shape or form, either directly or indirectly, you know? Right. And hardcore was there for me when all I could feel was anger. When I lost my cousin, he was like my big brother. Lost him when I was 13 to suicide. And over those, like from like 13 to like 19 or so, it's like all I felt was anger and numbness, and I didn't know how to process or cope. And so I gravitated to heavy music, and so many people have such similar stories of just like broken homes or father walking out, or things like that. And same, like my dad walked out too. So it's like, I feel that. And so it's like, we all gravitate to just this letting out, this expression of anger so that we feel better, you know? And it was there for me when I needed it. And then my early 20s, like it hit me that like we have this outlet, but nobody's healing.
Right.
Like, it's just a vicious cycle. You know, we let it out, we feel good for a week or so, and then we still got to go back home into our rooms, and our thoughts and our vices are still there, you know? And I hit that point when I was 19, 20. My life kind of fell apart around that time. I was like in a relationship that, like, a long-term relationship. We had a place together, and the relationship fell apart, and I lost I just left the house, and I was couch surfing for like a year, and just, blessed by the people who took me in and this and that. And it kind of just hit me. I was like, dude, I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of being depressed and numb. And so it was like 3 a.m. and I skated to Walmart back when Walmart was 24 hours. And I grabbed a journal and pen, and I filled up the journal. I wrote for probably 5 hours straight, just filling up the journal. And at the time I found Levi the Poet and Trey the Ruler. And I was just, it kind of just like, it was like a 2x4 hit me in the back of my head. Like, you need to do this. People need to know that it can get better if they put in the effort to heal. And I was like reading over what I wrote, and I started forming poems off of that. And then I hit up the promoter for one of the local venues, the Nile Theater here, Mantooth Productions. I hit them up and I was like, hey, I know this is kind of off, but like, I know spoken word has kind of like been in and out of hardcore for a while. Can I just like jump on a show? And she was like, yeah, of course. And so I started performing in between bands at hardcore shows, and the light bulb just hit. It was just like, yo, this is what I need to be doing. And seeing a room full of tatted alternative kids in tears because of the poems I wrote, and going to the merch table and having conversations like, you heard my story, now tell me yours, you know? It's like, that's when we're vulnerable, it helps people open up to be vulnerable too.
Right.
And the healing started, and I started like counseling kids and counseling people, and just like providing my services for free. And like, I'm certified in suicide prevention and crisis intervention. Like, and I have like almost 10 years of experience now, and just, I speak at local high schools and give lectures to kids and stuff like that. And have these conversations of just like, okay, like we understand what we're feeling to an extent, but how can we express this in a healthy way where we're actually healing, you know? And so getting to bring that to the hardcore scene that was there for me when I felt I had nothing, getting to bring healing to that space has been the most rewarding experience I could ever imagine, you know? And so it kind of just all tied into it. And then I took a break from doing shows for a while and from touring for a while. And then I felt that season was done, you know? And then it just reignited, because it's like nobody's bumping spoken word poetry on the daily. You're only listening to it when you're depressed as hell, you know? And so I was like, I need to make this more digestible. I need to make it to where it sounds tight, but it's still healing. And then when it evolved into this heavy trap kind of stuff, it's like, yo, this stuff bumps, you know, like the bass goes crazy and kids are moshing at shows and stage diving at shows. But I still give mini lectures in between the songs, kind of like with the lyric video that I have out. Like, I explain the song like, yo, this is what this song is about. Spawn of Jesus. People in the church and people around me, they see my videos and they hear my music, and they're like, it's just like when you were playing metal, you know, like metal and hardcore. It's like, everyone's like, that's the devil's music. And it's like, no, read my lyrics. It's like, I'm not a spawn of Satan. I'm a spawn of Jesus, you know? And it's like, and that song goes crazy, you know? Like, I got a room full of people saying, boy, I might be a spawn of Jesus Christ, crucified, like, hang me up, I'll bleed and die. Like, a whole room of people saying that and dogpiling and saying those words. It's like this is healing, you know? Yeah,
I totally agree. I really appreciate you, you know, I know that you're an open book, but I just really appreciate you being so transparent and open. I've said it before on the podcast, and we've had people talk about, but the importance of mental health and reaching out when you need help, and talking to people about your emotions and how you feel. That's what I think is funny when you talk about, buff, tough guy, hardcore tough guys on their eyes. People think that we're tough guys. It's just that we're really emotional.
Yep.
So
exactly.
as soon as we hear something that resonates with us and we have to react to it, I'm going to cry. I mean, I was tearing up hearing your heart and hearing your like passion for, suicide prevention and the work that you're doing. It made me tear up. I'm not afraid to say it. I think that shit's beautiful. Like,
that's good, man.
We need
I appreciate
more of that. We need more of that for real.
I love that it's all tied together with like every aspect of my life is suicide prevention, even coffee. It's like people always ask me, that's the number one question I get. It's like, what can I do more to get involved in suicide prevention? And it's like, people don't realize you're already doing it. The day to day, like serving somebody a cup of coffee.
Right.
Like I've had these conversations over making somebody a pour over and they're just sitting across from the bar, not so much pandemic stuff now, but it's like serving a cup of coffee and like, you see that deep breath and they're just like, they take that first sip and then they smile. That's suicide prevention. Like you helped somebody start their day off on the right foot, And like, I've had these deep, heartfelt conversations over coffee. Like you said, it's like coffee is like this hub of like, everybody meets there. All walks of life love coffee.
Right.
And it brings so many different people together and we all have these experiences and all of those experiences are important, And like, that's suicide prevention. Asking just when you ask a homie, like, hey, how are you doing? And like, they could be like safe with you.
Yeah.
And they're like, honestly, I'm not doing too good right now. And it's like, all right, well, let's talk about it. Let's go get coffee. Let's have a conversation. Like, let's be real. And like there is therapy, there is counseling, there is medication for people who need it. That's the next step. But the first step is the day-to-day interactions we have and just being a genuine human to somebody, realizing that we heal together. We're better together. You're not in this alone. All you need to qualify for purpose is to have air in your chest and air in your lungs and a beat in your chest.
Right.
You have air, you're breathing, you're still alive, your heart is beating. You have purpose. You qualify for purpose. And that is suicide prevention, and it all ties together, whether I'm on stage, whether I'm at a school speaking, whether I'm serving coffee or whether I'm roasting the coffee that's going to lead to somebody drinking the coffee to make their day better. That's all part of suicide prevention,
Yeah, for sure, man. Like this, and we could go on forever about it, but like 100%, like just reach out to people, like ask them how they're doing, listen to, I feel like we don't listen to people anymore.
Exactly.
So definitely, I feel like we've gotten, especially like our generation, and even I have a lot of hope for the kids that
Gen
are
Z.
Younger than me, because they're so, connected even over the internet and person to person.
Yeah. And it's Gen Z. It's like, they get so much crap for being so emotional and snowflakes, the liberal snowflakes. And it's so stupid. It's like, you're literally criticizing a generation for being in tune with their emotions. Like, shut up. Like, you're just jealous because you're not used to being vulnerable.
Right.
Like, we have Gen Z is the most in tune generation to ever walk this earth because they're so used to being transparent and broadcasting their life for the world to see. They're the first generation to grow up fully immersed in technology.
Right.
There's a such thing as overstimulation. And that's something I talk about with the kids. It's like, don't jump straight onto your phone the moment you wake up. Like, let your mind wake up before you jump into overstimulation. You jump into seeing more news about COVID. You jump into potential war crisis. You jump into another freaking police shooting. Like, you jump into all of this chaos. It's like, just let your mind process what's in front of you first. And then once you're more awake and alert, once you can have a conversation, those notifications aren't going anywhere. Right. Like, take care of your mental. Don't throw all that information into your mind before it's woken up and alert, It's like, there's such a thing as overstimulation, but like, that's why I'm trying to give these kids the cheat code. I'm so blessed to get to do what I do. And it's like, especially within like heavy trap. I mean, like we obviously understand hardcore metal. It's heavy, it's dark, it's angry, it's aggressive. So it's like having it transfer into artists like Scarlord, Ghostmane, Zillakami, Sauce Mula, City Morgue, like all of these, like I have taken what I learned in heavy music and hardcore and what I do in suicide prevention. And it's like, how can I meet the kids where they're at, you know? And so that's my goal, is like, I'm trying to make it to where it's like, I'm bringing healing to those spaces of anger and just like hopelessness and stuff like that. And it's like, again, those artists aren't trying to be heroes. They're just talking about life. They're talking about their experiences. Right. And so it's like, it's angry and it's violent and it's aggressive and it's depressing because they're processing their own healing and their mental health and stuff. So it's like, how can I use these tools that I've learned to meet kids that are listening to this music, meet them where they're at on Spotify, on SoundCloud, on Apple Music, meet them on the road, meet them at these shows and have these conversations. How can I bring healing to those spaces? And like, so I'm blessed to get to do what I do. I'm blessed to have these conversations like this have these conversations with these kids over Instagram. Like kids message me like, I don't feel good today. What should I do? And I get to counsel them and mentor them and step in if they're feeling suicidal, you know, like I love what I get to do. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's definitely something that we need more of. So I'm happy that, you know, you're using the platform and the outlet to be able to make like real differences and impact, you know, people where they are. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, Anthony. This has been an awesome conversation. I know it's probably been a bit heavy for some people listening, but you know, we need to talk about some real shit sometimes. So
exactly.
So thank you so much for, you know, just sharing everything. I just have one last question for you before we go.
Yeah.
What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
Honestly, right now, Arizona, where I'm at. Like Arizona is on the come up for coffee. Like obviously I love California. I love going, but like right now, Arizona is killing it. Like I plan on sending you a bag of our coffee. I want you to taste Peixoto coffee. I want to ship you out one. Sure. I'm actually shipping out. Yeah, I'm shipping out Adam from Orthodox. As soon as I heard your conversation with him, I hit him up and I was like, Adam, I want to send you coffee. I want you to experience this, because Arizona coffee is beautiful right now. Pear Cupworks, my coffee mentor, one of my great friends, Kim Hawk, him and his partner, Eugenia. Kim Hawk was working with me at Peixoto Coffee for a while. Everything I know from coffee partly came from him, and he opened up his own shop, Pear Cupworks in Mesa. Then you got Mythical Coffee, my other coffee mentor, Eric, him and his partner, his fiance, Kat, they opened up Mythical Coffee when they left Peixoto. And so there's that. Then there's Infusion in Tempe. That was one of the first specialty shops that I got to go to. And then you have Tucson, Presta Coffee, where still to this day, the best espresso I've ever had in my life over the last 7 years of specialty coffee that I've been a fan and within the community. It literally tasted like I was biting into a ripe strawberry, just a sweetness. Like that was the best espresso. It was a natural Ethiopia. To this day, I will forever remember that. Presta Coffee. Then you got like Dark Hall Coffee, where they're a vegan shop. La Bohemia, rest in peace. They just shut their doors, unfortunately, but they were really doing amazing things with coffee, bringing coffee from Mexico, specialty coffee from Mexico, like things like that. Like Arizona, like when my friends come to visit, I'm like, yo, we're doing a coffee crawl because I have 10 shops that I could take you to, you know, and then there's Peixoto Coffee. Like what I get to be a part of. Spencer, the head roaster, another one of my coffee mentors, like his take on roasting, his style on roasting is just, it blows my mind. The coffees that we get to put out, the coffee that I just drank, this Geisha, it's like he dialed it in. Getting to learn from him is so rewarding. Like it's the wisdom that he has and the humility that he has, because he approaches it with knowing that he's never going to know everything there is to know about coffee.
Right.
He's not like, this is the way to roast. He's like, this is my perception of roasting, you know, and light roast coffee, obviously. Like, so it's like Arizona is just beautiful. I love it, from music to coffee and everything in between. Like, I love what we're doing here. I love getting to be a part of, I'm like, you go to California, there's a lot of people doing what I'm doing. You got Midnight Society, Kamiyata, Original God. You got like all these heavy like artists that are doing it. And then you got like Florida, where Ghostman is from, you know, it's like stuff like that. It's like a lot of these places are doing heavy music and heavy rap, heavy trap. And I'm really the only artist that's like doing it, you know, like at the level that I'm doing it here. So it's really exciting to like get to do this here. And I'm such an oddball on shows, because I'm playing shows with If I Die First, which is that like super group.
I love them.
I love them because it's like, that's the dream. Blow up and then make a post-hardcore band that you used to play in your garage, you know?
That's exactly like the first time I heard it, I was like, bro, 2008 is fucking back.
Exactly.
I was so
like
happy.
Like Ned Arb, like Goth Boy Click, like Wicca Phase bringing Tiger's Jaw, and like all of these people who like paved the way for this whole different style of blending emo and heavy music with trap and lo-fi, like, and now they're just like, yo, we're rich now. We made it. Like, I'm like Ned Arb being a multi-Grammy winning producer. And then he's like, I'm going to make a band that I always wanted to make. And Lil Lotus, shouts out Lotus. Like,
Lil Lotus.
Like all of them, man, like getting to be a part of this in Arizona, like, and getting to play like with heavy bands, but then getting to play with rap and getting to play with like indie bands. Like, I love mixed bills. Mixed bills are so slept on, because people get to experience new genres of music that they wouldn't normally experience. So it's like, I love what we're doing.
Mixed bills need to come back. When I was growing up in my local scene, that's all we had, because there were no two bands that were the same.
Yeah, I love it. And it's also really cool just to shout out Brooke from Impending Doom, like one of the pioneers of heavy music and Christian music, having him on one of my tracks. Man, that is everything to me. Like, Impending Doom, HANDSXFEET would not be what it is without Impending Doom. Like, I heard that for the first time, and I was like, I showed it to my mom, and my mom is amazing, bless her. She was like, this is it. Like, this is what you love about music and you love about God in one. Like, they're freaking doing Cannibal Corpse style stuff and talking about Revelation. Like, and like getting to bring this like heavy trap. And I just reached out to Brooke, and because he's doing this kind of like trap metal, heavy trap, whatever you want to call it. He's kind of doing it too with Man of God. And I messaged him and I was like, yo, man, I just want you to know, like, Impending Doom, like you changed my life. Y'all changed my life. And like, I would love to have you on a track. And he's like, thank you so much. I am honored. I would love to be on a track with you. And we have conversations now. So it's like blessed like that. And like, I'm trying to get Job for, I think his name's David from Job for a Cowboy on a track. If Job for a Cowboy, if you somehow hear this, like, I'm doing that for me. Job for a Cowboy, Arizona pioneers, Knights of the Abyss, Arizona pioneers. Like, Arizona has even blessed the fall. Like, come on, man. Like, Arizona, we have such this melting pot of people and styles of everything from coffee to music. And I love it, man. Like, seeing so much music come out of Arizona over the years, that's like, it's just beautiful. I love being from Arizona. It's always going to be home, even though it's hot as hell here. I love it. Being in the underground when it's 115 degrees outside and the ceiling is dripping because it's so humid down there and there's no airflow.
I love
that. Some of my best moments down there, man. Bless Arizona.
Well, Anthony, this has truly been, as we used to say in the church, a treat and a treasure. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
Appreciate you hanging out with me, and I wish you all the best. Looking out for those new releases and a new coffee collab that would be sick.
Yep. It's all in the works. Check me out on Instagram, HANDSXFEET across every platform. If you directly, Grayson, need anything, I'm here for you. The listener, if you need to talk, please message me. Please reach out. This is what I do. Run my music up so I could do this full time. Like, order Peixoto coffee, everyone. Like, this is what it's about, and I'm just trying to help people heal as I heal.
And links are in, if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere, links are in the episode description. So go and check those out. Anthony, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, man.
Take care, man.
You too. Thank you. God bless.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. Say a huge thanks to Anthony for coming on the podcast and hanging out with me. It was such a pleasure to hear about Hands and Feet, what he's got going on with Sorrow Circle, and also a lot of great things that are going on at Peixoto Coffee. Be sure to check out the links in the description, show Hands and Feet some love, as well as check out Peixoto Coffee, because they honestly have a lot of awesome coffees that are available for online order. If you have enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can follow us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns, or find us on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Till next week, stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up!